are up right now on Infowars.com on the online video bookstore shopping cart. And, of course, you can always give somebody this holiday season a PrisonPlanet.tv membership, the gift of awakening. And we're adding so much more there. We've got going up tomorrow the Alex Abaya Inside Rand Corporation, the Master World Government Plan, Inside Rand Corporation Whistleblower. That's going up. The video interview with him. We flew to L.A. to interview him. It's got going up is going to be the Charlotte Iserby Inside Skull and Bones and New World Order interview. Her dad and grandfather were Skull and Bones, and great-grandfather, I believe. She's got the Skull and Bones grandfather clocks in her house. Just incredible stuff. She's the person that gave Anthony Sutton the inside info to first blow Skull and Bones wide open more than 20 years ago. That's going up. It's going to be a 2-hour interview. We're going to put basically the whole thing up. They just flew to Maine to interview her because she's retiring now. So she's just spilling the beans on everything. That's going up. PrisonPlanet.tv, 15 cents a day, $5.95 a month, or get a yearly membership in the month of December and get 5.3 months free. So it's close to half off when you get it in the month of December. And all of this revenue that comes in makes what we do here possible. We couldn't do any of this. Not my crew and contractors of close to 30 people, not the giant websites now, Infowars.com alone, bigger than MSNBC and Glenn Beck's website combined. We couldn't do any of this and pay for any of this if it wasn't for your support. Plus, these materials wake people up and accelerate the overall resistance to the globalist. Okay, finishing up with Chris in Wisconsin. You were making a point, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, your guests for the last couple of days have been talking about the economic collapse of America. There's some big names that have plans for the rebuilding period. Rockefeller and Bill Gates. If you look for Bill Gates algae, Google search Bill Gates algae. Algae is ALGAE. It's a good place to start. It's only probably because of my involvement in renewable fuels for the last 10 years I even know about this. But
well, I am aware of this, so let me just fill folks in briefly, and then you can add to it. Gates is dumping almost all of his money into a tax-free foundation that openly promotes abortion, forced inoculations, just nightmarish type stuff. His dad, of course, the board of Planned Parenthood. Bill Gates now has emerged and admitted, yes, he wants one-child policy, basically like Ted Turner. And through his tax-free foundation, I mean, tens of billions of dollars is being invested in weather control. That's on record. On genetic engineering, on airborne inoculations they just spray in the air. In renewable energy through algae and different systems. And so, yes, he is planning to roll out the next wave of new technologies that are controlled and cloistered by the globalists while they buy up and block all the other advancements that have been made by other researchers. It's all about actually suppressing real technological development and only doling out certain things that they control. But tell folks about the algae.
Well, this actually ties into a lot of those. He actually funded it through his private investment firm, Cascade Investments. He put in September of 2008, he put $50 million into a company called Sapphire Energy, which isn't like the other algae startups we've seen. It was actually funded into existence by the Rockefellers. And there's just a couple of stories. This Wall Street Journal blog has a story on it if you search for Bill Gates algae, and CNET News goes into this.
Tell folks what the algae does.
Well, it's what they're doing is instead of growing algae and then squeezing the oil out of it and then turning the rest into ethanol, they actually have done this already and flown a plane on this fuel. The algae actually produces a direct-to-tank alternative for gasoline, and the company is funded into existence.
And again, they put taxes on regular types of energy, old coal, oil, and then they force you to buy their wind patent system. They force you to buy their algae system, their ethanol system. This is about a total takeover of the economy. And it was the Rockefellers over 100 years ago. I mean, I've done deep research, who funded literally everyone, including the Nazis. They funded the discovery of DNA, and they funded the creation of IBM and Thomas Watson. Just everything. Literally, our entire world is them. They've built this grid. There's over 30 globalist organizations promoting world government. David Rockefeller created them all. I mean, they funded the UN's creation in San Francisco and then in New York. They gave the land. I mean, it's just everything is them. I mean, there's three families. Saxe-Coburg-Gothas, that's known as the House of Windsor. That's their brand name. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. There's some other powerful families, and they're all intermarried with them, but that's it. They run it all, and they are just so diabolical. So we've got eugenicists on power trips who think they're God, who've engineered our society, and heaven help us. I appreciate your call. Excellent point, sir. Let's go ahead and take another call here. Let's talk to Tom in New York. Tom, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, I just wanted to call and inform you of something that's kind of unique that's going on in New York City right now. I work union construction, and essentially we're being told that we have to go through a TSA, must conduct a security threat assessment in order to get a TWIC card.
Yeah, for those that just joined us, how many times have you listened to the show?
Me, I've been listening to it for about a year now.
Okay, how many times have you heard me talk about seeing Governor Ridge almost 8 years ago on C-SPAN for 2 hours with a group of CEOs they had 4 tables, in a square with all these top CEOs, and he said it all. He said, you're going to have to get TSA approval. Well, he said Homeland Security approval, but he said the TSA will probably be the model to have a job. You'll have a card to work anywhere. Everything you do will be attached to that. You will, I taped it, but then couldn't find it later in all the videotapes. Back then I was taping on VHS. But now you've seen it all unfold. And yes, to have a job in critical infrastructure, but that's at a school, a college, a bottle factory, a light bulb factory, a car factory, a power plant, or if you work around lakes or rivers, for the LCRA or for Fish and Wildlife. I mean, literally most of society, you will have to have government federal approval. That's why they're breaking our will, setting the precedent now to take over our airports, stick their hands down our pants. Now they're going on the street corners and the Walmarts, and first it's 800 locations, now 9,000 locations, that they're going to have telescreens. It's about getting used to the feds on TVs everywhere, bossing you and telling you what to do and brainwashing you. And yes, you're going to have a card to work basically anywhere. And so now you're in New York, and this is happening to you. Tell us about it, Tom.
Well, if you want, I could give you my union website. It's got plenty of links. They'll tell you all about it. There's 2 different types of cards.
Can you do me a favor? Give me the headline on the union press release, or email it right now to JARON@Infowars.com, or send it to showtips@Infowars.com. Do you have a,
Well, it might be easier if I just give you my, the union website.
Okay, give it to me.
Pull it up. It's right there. It's local361.com.
Hold on, local361.com.
/SWAC-TWIC.
Okay, / what?
SWAC, SWAC-TWIC. It's 2 different certifications. And they're both basically, TSA is going to run a security threat assessment on you. It's a biometric credential is what they want to issue you.
Yeah, so you get face scanned, you get fingerprinted, and then TSA, this is big news, not news to our audience, but big news that's now rolling out, and then they decide if you're allowed to have a job. Just like the no-fly, they now admit is going to be a no-buy gun list, no judge, no jury, you can't get off the list, just no more guns for you, and then you're not going to be able to get a job. And there it is, Transportation Worker Identification Credential, and I want you to send that to Kurt Nemo. Send it to Paul Watson, Steve Watson, Aaron. I want them, whoever wants to do it. I want it, maybe 2 stories, but the headline should be TSA or Homeland Security. Americans will have to get approval to have jobs in America under TSA rollout. But illegal aliens, they're going to be issued these. They're already given driver's license in Texas. We were told the biometrics in '93 were for them. No, they're exempt. They're just given the driver's license. And I was, again, this is breaking because I didn't know they were actually starting to roll it out. But you notice it's all happening. They've announced what they're going to do, the total federalization. You got to get permission from a shadowy government agency to have a job. In fact, print that for me, guys. Put it back on screen, please. Amazing for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. For folks that aren't, just Google Transportation Worker Identification Credential, TWIC, Iron Workers Local 361, TWIC and SWAC information page, and there it is. So again, you want to build a house, you want to build a building, you want to work, you might be a terrorist. You're guilty until proven innocent. As if a real terrorist couldn't just run and blow something up. Now, see, all these good old union guys are like, yeah, Al-Qaeda hit us. Oh, the government says the dust's good. I love the government. What are your other members saying? I mean, what's your view on this? This is huge.
Well, unions are typically against background searches and urine analysis, and that's basically what this is. If you go to the SWAC credential, it's a different website. Their website is secureworker.com. If you go to the technologies page, it basically tells you what they're going to run.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. Back when I still watched TV occasionally, I had Time Warner Cable, and this is before 9/11. They put on the local county and city channel, about half the time, I'm sure it's still on. In fact, I've seen it recently when I would flip through the channels. They have Pentagon TV, Air Force TV, Army TV, Marine TV. And it's the Marines are running checkpoints to stop drunk drivers. In Dallas, the National Guard is blowing up crack houses. They're teaching children to not use drugs. And, I just played that on Monday. But we got it off the web, off Pentagon television, Defense Department television. But this is what's incredible. I remember 10 years ago, you can pull this up, and we made a big deal about it because I taped it and played it on my own access show and on radio, that they announced, call the Pentagon. And for Texas, we have they even have it localized. In Texas, it goes to San Antonio, free drug testing by the military of all of your civilian workers. It said, doesn't matter if you have 1 employee or 1,000. It's free. The government wants your urine. The creepy army isn't just taking your baby's blood secretly at birth, now admitted, or the creepy government isn't just putting poison in your water, not just fluoride, but uranium, now admitted. The creep ball government, it's got to be like 98 I saw this and was pulling my hair out. They're taking people's urine. Now, again, it's like, test the urine of our employees. Well, if you got some pothead or somebody clearly acting weird, you can tell when they're on drugs, you're fired. Your eyes are, are like glazed over. You're on some kind of speed. You're gone. I mean, you don't even tell them that. It's like, you're gone. Yeah, you're grinding your teeth there, pal. I've been watching you for a month. You're on something. I don't have druggies around here. Of course, I don't tell them that. Oh, your performance hasn't done too well. You're gone. But we haven't had to do that except once or twice. The issue here is that you don't need to have your employees urinate in a cup and send it off to Uncle Sam. This is incredible. If we don't, I'm telling you, it's all about submission, sticking their hands down our pants, putting their hands on our wives and children. Bunch of scum. This is the new make work. They're turning us into a giant prison. They got telescreens going in. Heaven help us. I'm sorry. Listen, we're going to do a big story on this. I knew it was going on, but I didn't know it was being rolled out this big. And this has got to be one of the biggest unions in New York City, or is this New York State?
New York City, all of New York City.
Okay, so all the big unions. And so Homeland Security wants your urine, and you're going to have so I guess you got to go in and get enrolled, just like somebody in Fallujah or Afghanistan gets enrolled with a slave card. When is that supposed to happen?
It's happening now. It's been happening for over a year now. It's every construction union. It's not just mine. Every construction union. You're talking hundreds of thousands of construction workers that have to go through this. And
now they're moving to block, even in Texas, being able to be non-union and basically have a job. I'm all for unions, but not when they become arms of the government. Are people saying no? Did you go in and get the biometric enrollment?